You call that going live? Man, I cannot believe I'm 2 minutes late and I was trying so hard to be on time. I'm going to blame RJ. I was on the phone with him for a long time today. We got a lot of stuff. I wanted to talk about the bench of Moses, the seat. We'll look at that. It might remind you of something like a parent or a boss in an old movie going like, do as I say, don't do as I do. That might have been what the Lord was saying because this was Matthew 23. Listen to the bench of Moses. And then he goes, but the Pharisees and the scribes are a bunch of hypocrites. A lot of things to think about there. We'll talk about the jealous God, maintenance of our temple. It's okay for God to be jealous. If you have questions, we'll answer that. I'll answer that. The jealousy in a human has a second cousin named envy. That's not anything you want to be a part of. There's something going on. They have foreshadowed a future to us, and I hope that you see they're what what did they foreshadow about our population? Wasn't it going from 3,300 million down to 60 million? Whatever they're foreshadowing is something like the big cities are going away. And it's going to be an attempt to, it's Satan going crazy, man. We'll all need more vaccines or something. What will be the number one need if and when that happens? Water. That's what is number one. You're going to need pure, clean water to live. You're going to want to live even if the cities are burning, right? You know it. Second, this is all RJ here. Temple maintenance. I thought of the first one, water, and I go, that's pretty easy. I was like, okay, you got number two, and he goes, all right, temple maintenance, tinkering with the chemistry of our being. Make sure that if we're going to be what we eat, make sure it's good so we can be fit for the task at hand. What have you done in your past? You might have to do some of that in the future. You might have to do something else. When you were in when you were in shung, when you were in shape, when you were young, it's because you were active. Did we have a number three? Or this just number two? Be open. This is part of number two. Be open to spontaneous to the opportunity of doing the right thing. I am so glad to see you. How are you? Be open to doing the right thing. I told him, I said, Spike Lee made a movie about that, called it Do the Right Thing. Here's RJ, right? Who's Spike Lee? So there, I'm just going live because the world is going crazy. A lot of things I've said have come true. Some people might be wondering what I'm up to in school and stuff. So I'm filling you in. I wrote down here after that, do the right thing. Men make sperm, women make eggs. So when people say, what is a woman? And you hear them stutter and they can't figure it out. A woman makes eggs so that the species can continue. The sperm, they make the egg. Calling all or any meltologist a subsection of the short season, golden age, past theology. My question is, what are they trying to prove? What is meltology? There are bricks in a lot of weird places. Get it? I get it. I have my explanation. A lot of people have explanations. They have something to do with buildings. Is there a definition of meltology? Welcome, everybody, to Mud Flood Was Armageddon. The Mud Flood was the Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they're willing to debate you in a non-violent way. So there's that. Let's see what we got here. Salt Paco at your service. Usually I'll show you this thing. Looks like I might have restarted the computer due to a situation, maybe a little hitch in the giddy up. But I'm going to leave this up, probably do a video mañana. There's some Espanol for you. Did you know that you speak Spanish? You know between 400 and 4,000 cognates. Like if I told you, like if I was going to, I'm going to look you in the face on this one. If I told you something was muy importante, you probably get the idea. It's like, that's a different language, but I think it's important. Oh, importante. And you might go, important, important. You speak Spanish, man. Maybe that was that language that everybody liked. Here's some pictures. I showed the thing. I want to back it up to here. Why wouldn't I have to restart the computer? It goes up. So, Truth Stream Media, at least RJ, Luther, a lot of people might remember. Man, I've been all over this, and I love that they're bringing the water memory of the Zero computer from the, really, except for a few spots, overrated movie Rollerball with James Caan. I mean, the first half of the movie, 4 stars out of the 5. I think they go with that. But overall, it's a 1 thumb up. I can't stand this computer stuff. What is this? If Lincoln trusted Donovan so deeply, why did history erase him? And that's another one. This is a computer. I got to look this up because that's an interesting one, that somehow the computer is trying to tie it into the Jeffrey Epstein thing. How about that for being weird? Look at, here's something else that's weird. He's a kind of a guy that does the stock market, but he's got into these things now because it's a flat earth nation worldwide phenomenon of the Epstein files. And they released so many millions of files, but not for 1999, 2000, or 2001. They picked them back up in 2002. They were spiking here, small club with the Clintons, I'm sure, here, growing, spirit cooking, anybody? Yeah, me. So and then all the warnings, hey, don't go to the Twin Towers today. Even, Condoleezza Rice most famously warned Willie Brown and never had to provide an explanation of how she knew to warn Willie Brown, don't get on any flights to New York that day. Because they're cheating. They're cheating cheaters, double-crossing, backstabbery going on around here. Oh, we were curious when I was doing some research with RJ on the phone. We had no idea. Somebody had told him that a gold medal has something like 4 ounces of silver. And I'm like, come on, man, that's a lot. It really only has to require 92.5 silver, and then the rest is that gold plate. thick gold plate, I'm sure, but they're not worth $1 million or something, you know. And so this guy's talking about it. Turns out the Epstein files are all about. Am I sharing the screen? Looks like it. Uh, Jalene Maxwell was even offered a chance to be on a shadow 9/11 commission report a week after the 9/11 fake changed the world type situation. These guys supposedly did it. There's that guy Brennan. There's that guy Brennan. He gave these guys how many people did he personally approve? I mean, and he was the head of something big, but he personally approved half of these visas for those people. Do you know how many it was? You know, he was corrupt. Yeah, right. Didn't I see how many it was? 12. Okay, 12 he helped get their visas because they had to if somebody provided the dancing Israelis and somebody provided the 12 hijacking visas. In case you haven't seen the magical passport the FBI guy found the after the explosion, he found this and he goes, "Hey, I found this. It must be one of the hijackers because look, he's wearing a turban." Condoleezza Rice, she lied about foreknowledge. What? Those guys that have to get their picture and everything else on here, you know, we can't read it if we want to read it later. But anyway, look how she was going to be the commissioner of the NFL. That was her promise. They lie. Moses' seat, Epstein's list, I-beams getting vaporized on 9/11 on October 2nd, less than a month. They're talking about, wow, what happened? These things collapsed, but then the buildings, something that used to be over half an inch thick, just disappeared. Really? Is that the last picture? I guess so. So I got my stuff with the university straightened out. RJ, what'd you send me here? Oh, I saw this one. That's not her.
The first thing that jumps off is that's not her nose. That's not her nose. That's not her.
Jimmy Dover. That's not her nose.
And you can even tell
nose. Hey, it's Brian, the guy that he does a lot of really interesting stuff. For somebody that makes a living off YouTube, I think he's doing it really good. But that's not her nose. Go
by her eyelids.
Wait, her nose.
So did you saw this, right, Kurt? You saw that when they tried to pass off this as Ghislaine?
That's not her photos of Ghislaine Maxwell. The first thing I did is I put yellow dots where her pupils are, and then I went from the very top of the ear to the very top of the ear, which skirted right underneath her eyelids. And the reason I did this is I wanted to line up those, look at the pupils. Now let's go straight from the youthful photo to the deposition photo.
I like that one. I had seen that one. Oh my goodness. Nobody can save the Colorado River? It's
El Paso, Texas. January 22nd, 2026, 11:34 in the morning, Mountain Standard Time. A photographer stands at the Zaragoza International Bridge, connecting El Paso to Ciudad Juarez.
That's in the nation of Mexico.
Below her, spanning the border between the United States and Mexico, lies what Spanish conquistadors called Rio Grande del Norte, the Great River of the North. She points her camera downward. There is no river. A crack in the earth, dried mud, scattered puddles reflecting nothing. Barbed wire.
It's going to be worse this year because I live in Colorado, you know, pretty close to the headwaters of the Rio Bravo, the Rio Grande. Yeah, that's we don't got no snow and our river, it's not the river it's cracked up to be anymore. I like these things, especially the first couple of minutes, but then when they get into the tectonic plates from a million years ago, we're gonna bail.
Stretched across what used to be flowing water. On the Mexican side, concrete barriers. On the American side, 30-foot steel bollards, part of the
What'd
border
you
wall
call
that
me?
now runs through the riverbed itself. The Rio Grande, the 6th longest river in North America,
That can't be real.
1,900 miles from the Colorado Rockies to the Gulf of Mexico, the water source for 15 million people across 2 countries, has disappeared. This is not drought. This is not seasonal variation.
No, it's drought, man. It's total drought. What are you talking about?
This is structural collapse.
Oh,
Here is what most people do not realize. Recent hydrological research published by Texas
it's drought by structural collapse.
was permanently abandoned. Not fallowed for a season. Abandoned forever. Half the agricultural economy simply disappeared.
Hey, is this guy trying to blame the Dust Bowl on Colorado? We're the ones with the Colorado River. We're not sucking it dry. It doesn't make it to Mexico. There's not enough water.
Flow from the Rio Grande has dropped below minimum delivery thresholds. You do the math. 60% less water means you cannot irrigate 1,440 of your 2,400
Let's use some magic numbers. I like that, 144,000. You know, the sacred numbers, everybody uses them.
acres. You must choose which fields live, which fields die.
That's starting like on March 1st because we failed the December 1st, 2025 deadline, and then we missed the February 1st deadline because no matter how many ways you tell them there's not enough water, they don't believe you.
Officers at the scene and redacted stated there was no way it was a suicide. Coroner stated it was a suicide. Redacted later stated redacted committed suicide because redacted had gotten cocaine from a Mexican drug cartel.
And as we sit here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing.
The gentleman has expired.
Preach.
Whoa. Here's some interesting facts.
Redacted demeanor went stone cold as redacted stated, quote, he raped me. Redacted said, what? As redacted replied, Donald J. Trump had raped her along with Jeffrey Epstein. Redacted noted some girl with a funny name, quote, took me into a fancy hotel or building. That's how it happened. Some girl with a funny name. Redacted advised Redacted to call the police regarding the incident as Redacted stated, quote, I can't, they will kill me. On Christmas Day, Redacted contacted Redacted, stated she had in fact called the police about what they had talked about. Redacted told Redacted she had, quote, done good. Redacted did not hear from Redacted or until January 10th, 2000. Redacted reached out to Redacted stating Redacted was dead and noted she was found with her head blown off in Kiefer, Oklahoma. Officers at the scene and Redacted stated there was no way it was a suicide. Coroner stated it was a suicide. Redacted later stated Redacted committed suicide because Redacted had gotten cocaine from a Mexican drug cartel. Redacted feels the murder is a cover for Ghislaine.
Wow.
So there's a lot going on there.
That's weird.
No, it's confusing with all the redactions. But let me show you the interaction Congressman Ted Lieu had with Pam Bondi where he accused her of perjuring her.
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files.
I'm going to claim my time. I got your answer. You said there's no evidence.
Trump asked
Chairman, please stop the clock.
sign the legislation. This is
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of crime. I'm showing you, here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was gonna stop a limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell.
I think she's dead.
So should the men who patronized this operation. And as we say here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. What do you got?
Gentleman has expired.
Where's that thing?
See, you're checking with your staff, and I can assure you, staff, this is not under attorney-client privilege because it was sent from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell. Will you commit to publicly providing the unredacted version of this so that the American people can understand the extent of Donald Trump's lies about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein?
You're about as good of a lawyer today as you were when you tried to impeach President Trump in 2016. Have you apologized for that in 2019?
So will you unredact this? Will you
were
unredact
lead
this?
counsel on that. Privileged.
I'm asking you, will you unredact this?
Privileged.
Privileged, of course. I look forward to.
Hey, you could go vote again. Go ahead.
Epstein was involved in shadow banking, suspect currency trading, and was arguably really a financial terrorist.
Okay. We all know Whitney Webb. Now, 2% of the population claim they're Hebrew. 2% of the population claim they're Mormon. And both of them fight above their weight class as far as participation in high-profile jobs. The CIA, FBI both admit they like to recruit from Mormons. Charlie Kirk, most of Turning Point USA, I guess, is Mormon. They deal with Mormons. They deal with the charismatics. They deal with the fringe, who don't know theology, who no matter what are going to vote for J.D. Vance because it's going to be better than Michelle Obama. It's a setup. And I get it. Whitney Webb had a lot of things. They are going to use Glenn Beck. They want to tie it into the no-hide laws. It's a trap. It was released. Like Bible lovers like myself didn't know about flat earth until it was released. And they told us about it. And they got people to think, well, that's still not true in the Bible. A handful don't believe that and think it's a flat earth nation and the golden age is past. I hope you're one of them. Enduring is the key. Number 3. You got water, and then take care of your body, your temple. It is more of the same. I can't, I'm glad the word's getting out there. Anything with Glenn Beck, though,
Past, and like in the case of Den, he's kept questionable company. Was he an abuse victim? And in that gray area, it's quite possible. I've argued in the case of Ghislaine Maxwell that she sort of could potentially have fallen.
Isn't that weird? Hey, look at the Drudge Report. I guess they're getting divorces, and they arrested on his birthday. Prince Andrew, former Prince Andrew, arrested on his 66th birthday. Hey, man, those mafias, what are they going to? The mattress? he's wondering how long until they start talking about Jimmy Seville again and the lifelong friendship he had with a known pedophile and a lot worse. First royal jailed. Look at there's Donald Trump. Naomi Campbell gave Epstein access to A-list parties and fashion events. Department of Justice removed the record for multiple interviews with underage Trump accuser. Uh-oh. War, though. Don't worry, war. Everybody's on the same team when we're at war. That's what they said. That's what they're going to say. Let's bring back up these things. Let's act like, oh my goodness, the USS Liberty? Nobody ever heard of that before. The Mormons brought it out. Blah, blah, blah. There was so much more to this. I thought it was only the first one. The intubation, they want to, oh, you're sick. We got to put you on a ventilator. I'm not sure if that's the good idea, maybe for extracting adrenochrome. Does anybody know? Has you ever seen this weird part of a movie? Weird. Glad I showed the disclaimer. Oh, say, can you see?
Hold on, now!
Oh, my, that's terrible. Uh-oh. Oh, man, what's going on here? Terrible. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, he's blowing it up. Uh-oh. Batman. Look. That's weird, huh? As far as the Bible looking at, your sepulchres, your graves. I guess that's where I was looking at. We're going to go with what I was looking at here. Because I know I was looking at least Matthew 23. I will open your graves. So they're both here. That single use of that, what an adjective. Everybody has a burying place if you can afford it, I guess. Different ways of people being buried. Let's see how it got here. They opened, then you will know my people from your graves and brought up. Ah, this is one of those ones I woke up to and I said, what were they just talking about? Because I was waking up to the Bible. When this happens, O people, you will know that I am Lord. You shall know that I am the Lord when I open your graves and raise you from your graves. You dry bone. So, Jesus was crucified to death. He rose again. Here's another one. And they come to you as people come, sit before you, as my people hear your words. They hear what you say, but they will not do it. For with lustful talks in their mouths, they act. Their heart is set on gain. Oh, man. Like the cheese, that's no good. Somebody left it on the counter too long. Their gain, you know what they mean. You already know. Let's look at it anyway. Their pursuit, their gain. Where is that? Where's that word? Them, their words they do not hear. Much love for just being on the move. Much love for the 1980 going with the flow, not going with the flow, just being out and about. Like Satan. Remember, he was always so proud. What are you doing? I'm out, just walking. I don't work. I don't serve. I'm out walking. You know, I should probably ring your memory on that one. Where were you? He said in verse 6. What are you doing? Hey, he shows up late. Ben Elohim, court is in session. They came before Yahweh to present them. Ben Elohim. You know what that word means? God. Jesus. So here come, hey, where are you coming from? Roman? I'm walking back and forth on it, man. You got you calling it the fiery stones now, Satan? Let's look at that verse I was talking about earlier, Moses' seat. In the English Standard Version, it says Moses' seat. The scribes and the Pharisees sit on Moses' seat. So do and observe whatever they tell you, but not the works they do. Well, but they're not practicing what they preach. For they preach, but they do not practice. Did you ever wonder where you heard that one before? You heard it from the Bible. It almost had to be. They do all their deeds to be seen by others, for they love that gain. That's why they do it. They like to be called rabbi by others. But they're exalting themselves. Whoa, he said, to the people that you should do whatever they, listen to what Moses said, but don't do what they do. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites. You shut the kingdom of heaven in people's faces. For you neither enter yourselves, nor allow those who would enter to go in. But the Gentiles were all about it. They were coming to it, grabbing the cloak, saying, man, we will build you a synagogue. Yeah, but who were the blind guides? Who were the blind guides? Who was running that den of thieves? Who was teaching these things to go, Corbin, swear by the gift of the altar. I don't want to be bound by the oath. So it's Corbin. They're hypocrites. You can't do that. I might come back to the Bible. I had another one pulled up here. This is kind of crazy. Huh? I know he's probably a pro-choice.
He says he's turning the ranch into a Christian retreat for children. Now, this follows the unanimous vote in the New Mexico legislature where they agreed to create a truth commission to investigate the crimes that were committed at Epstein's New Mexico ranch that Epstein called the Zorro Ranch. I did a deep dive into the unthinkable and heinous acts that likely took place there. And the New Mexico legislature
and bring it into goodness, bring it into light and positivity. Tell us about that plan.
Well, of course, that is the main reason I bought the property. This was obviously a dark place, and we wanted to put light.
It is a dark place. There's bodies buried there from what people are saying.
In a dark place, it always shines the brightest when you do that. My faith is so strong in Jesus, and it really is. And I'm going to make this, the plan all along is to make this property into a Christian retreat. matter of fact, it's under construction today. And that's our goal. That's why we named it San Rafael. We named it Saint Raphael, as you probably know.
Is a Roman Catholic angel, because Raphael is not mentioned in the Bible. It's mentioned in the Roman Catholic Apocrypha.
An archangel, and
is he really? Can you prove that from the actual Bible? You can't.
That's correct. Again, even in the last few weeks, with the new information that we've received from the Department of Justice publicly, we are learning that there may have been reports to the FBI back in 2019 or prior to of bodies being buried, of folks being trafficked. It's absolutely horrifying to learn about these allegations. So we're really grateful to have a Truth Commission. Since the statutes of limitations have run on so many of the sex crimes that we know about or have been alleged, we're going to be doing a thorough investigation on everything that we can uncover about what happened at the ramp.
Flat out, getting older sucks, but it doesn't happen.
How about that one? Hey, what about these people? How do you think they lived? Chichimika. 1550, 550. A religious people, not too much about them, but they were, they were the barbarians, but it turned out nobody ever said anything what they actually did that was barbarous and what the way we would use it. I had to look up some of these things to, here's this. Here they go. Look at that. They're warlike people, man. Oh, maybe not. Who knows? But the ancestors are still there. How many people are going to be left in Mexico? They're doing a reset. Westo, another Iroquois native tribe, Spanish knew him as the Chichimeca in Mexico. They got around. Mississippi squatter zone. It wasn't only the West. Everything used to be Native American, and that included the Chichimeca Mexicans. It's a pretty big map. We want to look at first. New York. There's Rhode Island. I thought I was going to be closer. Better hug the coastline. So I wonder what the red lines are for. That's New York. That's Manhattan. That's what we call it today. There's Boston down here. Pretty sure. Says Salem, Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, the first capital of the, your favorite country. It's where we live. Wonder how far north. Look at that big one, Montreal. It was a star fort, baby. Got the border all the way up to here. They claim it all. I don't see any forts or anything. It must have been too cold. Where's that magnetic mountain? Because this is probably a globe map. The magnetic north has been on the move for quite some time. Weird. Was explaining the whole deal with Meyer Lansky, the New York harbor. It was controlled. They thought German submarines, they sunk a great big ship. So they had to convince the American mafia to let Lucky Luciano out of jail, return his Swiss bank account. they've turned him loose, man. And once you make a deal with the mob, they'll rewrite the history. They'll fake atomic bombs. And they'll turn a blind eye. If the Pope, I mean, remember when it was the Pope? The pedophiles are being covered up by popes. They had to pay out $10 billion last year. I'm sure they paid out. I know they paid out billions. Now it's all about it's the politicians, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, and they can't push that Roman Catholic baloney hard enough, can they? And they black out pedophile priests. This isn't a one thing only with Epstein. They probably got 100 Epsteins. But let's go look at, we do what they say, because it's not only that this is Matthew 23, where he's telling the people, you're going to have to do what the Bible says. And the next chapter is the one that talks about, I'm the Christ. They're going to claim, leading many astray. Don't be alarmed. This is the beginning of the birth pains. It's this generation. You're going to be hated by all nations for my name's sake. After 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 15, where it's the great falling away. All of Asia has departed me. The gospel, it says, was preached to every creature under heaven. They waited for the abomination of desolation. It was spoken of in Daniel. This all started with the questions, how long until these towers get thrown down, man? Not one stone left on another. Is it a good prophet that made that prophecy? It's Lord, Messiah, anointed Messiah. That's the sign. And based on the information you can glean from Daniel chapter 12, what they covered up in the Epstein files about 9/11 turned out to be the trigger. Because it says, after the abomination of desolation, there'll be 1,335 years. It breaks it up into, there'll be 1,290. Blessed are those who make the 1335. Well, we're 20 years away from that, because 9/11, when the mafia said, we're going to resort out our money and the dollar's not going to be it, we're going to go back for gold. The mafias wanted to know who's actually in charge. And it turns out the Irish, Jewish, Italian mob that kind of worked together here in the United States were a lot stronger than the triad suspected. And now the Yasuka have a chance. Boxer Rebellion Part 3, anybody? Yes. Flat Earth Nation, the golden age is past, the mud flood was Armageddon. Me and my friends, never going to tell you anything else. We know we're called, chosen, faithful, adopted, serving, to prove ourselves worthy of being called son by a spirit God that identifies as Father. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nakamen. Adios, amigos.